Now picture this. 32 world leaders sitting around a table in the Netherlands, and one man from Queens just made them all reach for their checkbooks. This is like a demented fundraiser. For decades, American taxpayers carried the weight while European nations spent their money on social programs instead of soldiers. Presidents begged, pleaded, negotiated. Nothing. But when Donald Trump walks in, now Estonia is writing checks for 5.4 of their GDP. Poland's president is admitting what everyone knows. Without Trump, this didn't happen. Poland is a great country. We love Poland. The biggest shift in NATO's funding since its founding just went down, and the fake news wants you to think it's no big deal. Wrong. This changes everything. Keep watching. But here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half of its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank, buy groceries, or try to take your kids out to dinner. Prices are up, the dollar is down. But here's a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something real, something proven. Gold. An asset that holds its value over time. And that's why I trust Noble Gold Investment. When I have enough money to make, they're going to make it simple to protect my savings with physical gold and silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar as a big thank you. Now head to nextnewsgold.com. You're going to want to learn more about this. Nextnewsgold.com. Don't just protect your wealth, preserve its power. Now, the numbers don't lie, and neither does history. For 75 years, America has been writing checks that our allies refuse to match. Today, that gravy train just hit its last stop. Before we dive in, let's check out this quick clip of Gary's final video from NATO. Check this out.
All right, folks, that's a wrap here at the NATO summit. Gary Franchi, Next News Network. President Trump just finished his fiery press conference, about 45 minutes long, and it was something to behold. The room was hot, and President Trump was there. He's flanked by Rubio and Hegth like a freaking boss, and it was something. Here we are, International Press Center, NATO Summit 2025. History has been made, not just by President Trump, but by the Next Friggin' News Network. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
This is our trusty leader, Gary Franchi, and his wife, Angie, in The Hague in the Netherlands. We are broadcasting to you from the deepest corners of the earth. We will go anywhere to bring you the news. And it looked like an absolutely epic trip, and I cannot wait to see what Gary has to say about it when he comes back next Monday. Now watch as the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, lays out what just happened in the Netherlands. This wasn't a suggestion or a request. President Trump demanded action, and for the first time in NATO's history, he got it. Take a look.
His fearless leadership guarantees America is once again respected across the world. Just look at what he was able to accomplish at the NATO summit in the Netherlands. Many of you were there. Our allies agreed to invest 5% of their GDP annually in defense because President Trump demanded it. This will be the most significant reinforcement of NATO's collective defense in the history of the NATO alliance. And as a result, the United States of America will carry less of the burden, and our NATO allies will be stronger than ever before. As NATO Secretary General Ruda put it, for too long, one ally, the United States, and our taxpayers, I may add, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump made this change possible. We will produce trillions more for our common defense to make us stronger and fairer by equalizing spending between America and our allies. This is the Trump effect. This is what the president meant when he declared that America is back.
5% of GDP. Let that sink in for a second. Every single NATO nation just committed to military spending levels that previous administrations called impossible. They wouldn't even have the gall to ask for it. But it gets better. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegth didn't mince words when he called this game-changing and historic. He's been there for the negotiations, watched other presidents try and fail. This guy's been around for a long time. Here's Hegth putting it in perspective. This is what happens when you send a businessman to do a nincompoop's job.
What President Trump accomplished in NATO yesterday was game-changing and historic. A shift in burden sharing to the European responsibility in NATO that most would have said was impossible at the beginning of his term. But he said NATO needs to pay up. They started in the first term, and here in his second term, we've accelerated that. 32 NATO countries committed to spending 5% of their GDP on defense, on actually investing in the NATO alliance. So I hope with all the ink spilled, all of your outlets find the time to properly recognize this historic change in continental security that other presidents tried to do, other presidents talked about. President Trump accomplished it. It's a huge deal.
I like how we use the term with all the ink spilled. No blood spilled, unlike a lot of our other presidents. You know, this is a huge deal. Other presidents just talked and flew drones and dropped bombs like indiscriminately. You know, Trump has delivered on something major. That's the difference between a career politician and the man who built skyscrapers in Manhattan. Estonia is already ahead of the game, and their prime minister, Kristen, Michal, isn't shy about it. They're at 5.4%, above what is required. Maybe they're just brown-nosing. Maybe they're just kissing butt. I mean, I would say now's the time, right? Watch as he explains what this means for NATO's future strength and why adversaries should be totally worried. Check it out.
It's a historic moment that we will be ramping up defense expenditure to 5%. I strongly, and Estonia strongly supports it. That means a message from NATO is coming that NATO is much stronger, more lethal. Estonia's defense expenditure next year will be already 5.4% of GDP. So that is also a message to our allies and our friends that NATO is strong and members are strong.
I like this. It's like world leaders are scurrying around trying to get on Trump's good side. Because, I mean, guess what happens when you get on his bad side? Everybody knows what happens when you get on his bad side. A simple tweet or a Truth Social post can end your political career. You know, we're much stronger. We're more lethal. Those aren't diplomatic words. That's a warning to Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, all the places that want to see us wiped off the face, right? NATO just grew some teeth, actually. Only because of Trump, though. Now, here's where it gets real. The Polish president just said the quiet part out loud. Without Trump's leadership, this deal was impossible. Let me just say, I love Poland. I love Polish people. Polish people are my favorite people. They are some of my favorite people. It's not difficult. It's not challenging. You know, listen to him admit what every world leader knows but won't say publicly. This is why we love Poland.
You know, the position of the President of the United States is the strongest in the alliance. So I understand that without the support of and without the leadership of Donald Trump, it would be impossible.
The strongest position in the alliance belongs to the American president. And Trump just used it like a hammer on an anvil. Even the European Union's foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas, had to admit the truth. This summit had one focus: 5% defense spending. No weird climate, Green New Deal discussion, no DEI diversity panels, no weird social justice seminars with Robin DiAngelo coming in to talk about white fragility, just cold, hard cash for our collective defense. That's what it's here for. Check it out.
This summit is about one thing and one thing only. This is 5% and more defense investments. And their, allies seem to be united. I think the understanding is everybody needs to do more for defense because we are living in very turbulent times. And that is the agreement where the allies are united.
Turbulent times require serious leaders to make serious decisions and serious commitments. And that is what Trump has demanded, and that is what he has delivered. Now, think about what just happened. American taxpayers have been footing the bill for European security since 1949. We didn't have to be involved like that. Of course, America is like the worst place in the world, except we're the most charitable country, like in the history of humanity. We rebuilt their cities after World War II. Who does that? We protected them during the Cold War. Who does that? And we kept writing checks while they built their own welfare states. Who does that? Those days are totally over. Trump's negotiating style, call it hard line. Some might call it America first. Doesn't matter. It just forced the most significant shift in burden sharing in NATO's history. No more free rides, no more excuses, no more American taxpayers carrying the load while European nations spend their money on everything except defense. Like, you want to talk about Happy Meals for illegal immigrants? Europe is being overrun on our dime. The Trump doctrine is simple. Pay your fair share or defend yourself. Guess what? They chose to pay. Because when the man who wrote The Art of the Deal sits across the table, you better bring a checkbook. This isn't about money. This is about basic, simple respect. Not biting. It's about not biting the hand that feeds you. It's about allies actually being allies and acting like allies, representing themselves like allies, instead of just dependents who keep saying, please, sir, I want some more. It's about America leading from strength, not begging from weakness. Now, if you got value from this report, please tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This NATO deal rewrites the world order. For the first time since 1949, Europe will defend Europe. American taxpayers just got the greatest return on investment in modern history, and our allies are finally paying their bills. Trump didn't ask nicely. He didn't send diplomats with briefcases and pocket protectors with clipboards. He demanded results, and he got them. 5% of GDP means trillions in new defense spending. This is incredible. And not only that, it's totally reasonable. That's real money for real security. But here's what matters to you sitting at home. Every dollar that our allies spend is a dollar that you get to put back into your bank account or something that can be spent on our homeland. Every tank they buy is one that we don't have to buy for them. Every soldier they train is one less burden on our military families, our Gold Star families, the people who have paid the ultimate price. This is what America First looks like in action. And here's my question. Should America pull out of NATO completely if any nation fails to meet the 5% commitment? Drop yes or no. This is a complicated question. We don't want to stand on ceremony all the time, but at the same time, maybe they should be just kicked out. Listen, NATO could be a great thing if we do it right. Allyship is a good thing. But if we don't do it right, it's a bad thing. And why should we do it? And remember, support the truth tellers. Check out our merch shop on the description at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.